Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 12th of December. So looking at the euro dollar first, and well, we've had doji, and it really sums the market up. It's not too sure in which direction it wants to run. From a daily perspective, to me it still looks bearish. You put the lower high in, and it's still looking like there's some potential downside in this market. It did eventually yesterday run back up through, and it pretty much got itself a little bit overbought in the short term. Now it's pretty key to where it's sitting. As you come down this time frame, it is a bit clearer than actually when you're looking at the dailies with the two dojis. Maybe it would suggest that we could see more upside, but as I say, we're seeing here what I'm looking for perhaps this morning is maybe a break of the lows. The trend line across the lows here that starts breaking past that 60-minute 50. It may be on for retest of these yesterday's lows, and maybe even down to that S1 quite easy within range. He says quite easy within range, and it's quite often quite a slow morning at the moment. But it does look weak in the bigger picture either way, and it's just, I think, just the potential is still for that downside to continue. Okay, nothing much more apart from if it does close above the daily pivot on this next bar, well, perhaps we will be seeing more upside. There is that potential to run back up towards yesterday's highs and see a different correction, although I thought this might just be the corrective wave that we've seen here over the last day or so, since Friday afternoon through. We'll see how it goes, but if it starts breaking down here, as I say, I'm bearish, or be looking to trade the bearish side. Still erring on the bearish side anyway. So the pound is put a pivot swing here on the dailies. It's again looking to me on the bearish side of things, although it was in a sort of upward trend prior. It's put lower high in effectively. It's not really actually just not quite confirmed that a break of the low from 3 days ago would be a bit more clearer on that basis, but it does look like it's a tad weaker. Now we've got inflation data coming out at 9:30 this morning, and maybe that'll clear things up a little bit or give a bit of a move. Anything less than the 3% expected may see a bit more of a sell-off in the pound. And realistically, I know the analysts are sort of been looking at the data and will have put their 3% estimate in there. But realistically, at some point, the pound's held up pretty well relatively in terms of strength. So import prices will be reduced a little bit, although there's other factors such as oil which have also pushed up, which will perhaps take that out. But maybe, just maybe, we will see the easing in inflation as if the pound can hold up where it is. Now, so from this 4-hourly perspective, it looks still erring on the bearish side, if anything. But we do have a daily pivot yet above. If it breaks back above this 21, maybe that would be a signal for that. But as I said, it does look weak. Maybe we'll see the S1 hit first. We'll run into, it's already into almost yesterday's lows. The prior lows are not far below that, and then you're sort of running, as I say, down towards the S1. That 500 hasn't been tested. It may be a point of support. It looks a little bit rangy in terms of range bound where it's sitting at the moment. Although anything key in that news may move it significantly. Okay, so erring on the bearish side, just watch for the break of that 60.21 before a slightly bigger correction maybe, which again could provide a selling point. Dollar yen, well, I was looking at the bigger picture previously, and I did wonder if it was going to roll more. Probably recovered a little bit more than I expected yesterday. 4-hourly certainly look like it's got this divergence across there. The weekly pivots below still got the potential for the rollover, but so long as the euro and the pound are looking a bit weak, it's just slowing this down. It did start selling off yesterday as expected, didn't get down to that weekly. Now it's still got the potential of doing that at some point, but if the other markets are well, if dollar strength is coming through, it's going to come through here too. So just got to accept that. Okay, that's a dollar yen, Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar just running back to its weekly pivot at the moment, which what I can see here. So I don't think it's quite caught it yet. No, not quite caught it. There's very bullish sentiment from institutional, retail traders on here, which is not necessarily seen through everywhere else. But so at some point, I expect it to be kicked back down again a little until that washes itself out. It's I'm just looking where that weekly pivot comes in, pretty much close to those prior lows there. So you may actually get selling into that sort of zone anyway. So there we are, just pushing up at the moment, but I as much as would want to be bearish on it, it's well, there are some signals suggesting or suggested a bit of divergence, or didn't diverge properly there yet. So it may, but it is certainly putting in this shorter term time frame, intermediate time frame, putting intermediate higher lows, etc. So just watching for that weekly pivot, and then may make a decision whether to look for the sell side of this market. Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar. Well, it's got into it again. It's doji. Consolidation on the 4 hours. You can see it quite clearly. There was some divergence coming in late last week. It's chopped around a bit since then. Again, like the yen, it's got the weekly pivot below, which could provide a target at some point. Let's just flick across to oil price this morning and just check where that is. Yeah, oil's shoving up at the moment, and that's helping hold the CAD down perhaps at this moment. So, and if it continues pushing up, it may just push the Canadian dollar back down to a weekly pivot. Now, it's not a lot in terms of points wise. It's only about 15 pips away from where it's sitting at the moment, so that's not a big move to do that. And at such a point, it may just give us an opportunity for long, so just need to watch for that. But at the moment, it's as I say, not the clearest of markets. It's been running sideways pretty much for the last couple of days, a bit of chop around that. So just need to see whether this is going to be a change of direction, it's going to roll over, or whether it's going to just move from this sort of area and push back up. But as I said, I think with that weekly pivot's a bit lower there. Sorry, it's not 15 pips back. That's only back down to the monthly pivot. It's 15 pips. It's a bit further down to its weekly pips there. Weekly pivot. Way out of its range by looks of things at the moment and what it's been doing on a daily basis, but who knows, it may just get that surge. So that's pretty much it. Other news out today, apart from this CPI this morning, we've got USPPI coming out at 1:30, not such a big mover, and the core PPI at the same time. We got Draghi speaking at 7 p.m. this afternoon, this evening even. He's due to speak at the 2017 European Cultural Days closing concert. Okay, organised by the ECB. That'll be a stunning speech. Okay, and then we've got the Reserve Bank of Australia governor speaking at 10:15. Okay, so doing a speech we're talking about Australian Payment Summit. So again, another one to sleep through. So have a great day. Bye for now.